You're listening to the YPO Tech Network AI Brief, and I'm Stephen Forte. Today's episode is the AI arms race in your HR department. We'll talk about why the biggest gap in your AI strategy isn't the technology. It's the people using it and the data feeding it. Let me set the scene. Every week, I talk to members who've signed the contracts, deployed the platforms, and rolled out the pilots. And every week, at least one of them says some version of the same thing. We bought the tools, but we're not seeing the return. And look, the tools work. The underlying technology is more capable than it has ever been. What's failing isn't the AI. What's failing is everything around it, the humans who need to work alongside it, and the data it's supposed to run on. Today's two stories put that in sharp relief. One is about the arms race happening inside your HR department right now. The other is about a number so bad it should be framed and hung in every boardroom as a warning. Let's start with HR and recruiting, because what's happening there right now is genuinely fascinating and more than a little absurd. AI adoption in HR hit 43% this year, up from 26% in 2024. That's nearly double in 2 years. And the results are real. Companies using AI in recruiting are cutting time to hire by 33%, and reducing cost per hire by up to 30%. Alara Caring shaved 1.3 days off their time to hire. Landing Point dropped their cost per interview from $37 down to $13. McDonald's, using a platform called Paradox, is saving 4 hours per week per location just on candidate scheduling. These aren't pilot numbers from a white paper that nobody read. These are operational results from companies running this at scale every day, so the technology works. That's established. But now let's talk about what's happening on the other side of the table. Candidates have figured this out too. They're using AI to write resumes, generate cover letters, tailor applications to job descriptions in seconds, and it gets wilder. 36 to 38% of candidates say they would use AI to create fake references, not embellish, fabricate. 51% would send an AI avatar to do their interview for them if they could. Let that land for a second. Over half of candidates would let a machine interview on their behalf if they thought they could get away with it. So now you've got AI on both sides of the hiring process. Candidates are using it to apply and companies are using it to screen. It's a full-blown arms race. And the companies that don't recognize it as such are going to find themselves on the wrong end of it. But the part a lot of members miss is this. The real risk isn't that candidates are using AI. The real risk is that your HR team is not. Think about that imbalance. Every applicant walking through the door has AI-polished credentials, resumes optimized by large language models, cover letters that hit every keyword your job posting mentioned. And your recruiters are eyeballing those applications the old-fashioned way. Trusting gut instinct and a quick skim, you're bringing a highlighter to a machine learning fight. Now, most people assume the fraud problem is going to get worse and become unsolvable. The opposite is true. It's actually going to be much easier to catch AI-generated fraudulent applications using AI than using humans. Pattern recognition at scale is exactly what these systems are built for. Inconsistencies in employment timelines, fabricated references that don't check out when cross-referenced, resumes that are suspiciously perfect in ways no real career ever is. AI catches those patterns faster and more reliably than any recruiter ever could. The fraud isn't some unsolvable mystery. It's a detection problem, and detection is what AI does best. But only if your people know how to use it, and right now they largely don't. 83% of organizations surveyed, roughly 500 companies in a Phenom report, still have low AI maturity in their HR functions. 83%. That means the vast majority of companies have this powerful screening and detection capability sitting right there available to them, and their teams aren't equipped to touch it. That's not a technology gap. That's a people gap. I deal with this constantly, getting the humans in the organization up to speed so the technology can actually deliver what everyone bought it to do. HR is an underserved opportunity for most companies and a great way to extend your reach. You can process more candidates, cast a broader net, hire better talent, and do it all faster and cheaper, but only if you bring your people along for the ride. The tool without the trained human is just software nobody's using properly. Now let's talk about the other side of the equation, data. Because if the HR story is about human transformation, this one is about what happens when you skip the data transformation. A study from Cloudera and Harvard Business Review dropped last week, and the headline number is brutal. Only 7% of companies are data ready for AI. 7. That means 93 out of every 100 organizations are feeding their AI systems data that is incomplete, inconsistent, siloed, or just plain wrong. And then they wonder why the outputs are unreliable. 73% of respondents said data preparation for AI is challenging. 56% cited siloed data as their single biggest obstacle. And this lines up with every other data point we're seeing in the market right now. Over 80% of AI projects fail according to RAND. 42% of companies abandoned AI initiatives entirely last year, according to S&P Global. And MIT found that 95% of generative AI pilots produced zero return. Zero. Not low return, not break even, nothing. Now, you can look at those numbers and conclude that AI doesn't work. A lot of boards are doing exactly that. Or you can look a little closer and see the pattern. The technology isn't what's failing, the foundation underneath it is. This is a huge part of what we do at Forte, data transformation alongside human transformation. Because none of the tools, none of the capabilities, none of the team eagerness matters if you're feeding AI the wrong data. If your systems are cluttered with draft versions of documents, duplicate records across 3 different platforms, things that aren't even useful information but never got cleaned out, your AI is going to give you garbage confidently. With a nice summary, bullet points, and a cheerful tone, McKinsey found that organizations reporting positive AI ROI are 2 times as likely to have fixed their data workflows first. That's not a coincidence. That's causation dressed up politely as correlation. The companies generating real returns did the hard, unglamorous work of cleaning, connecting, and governing their data before they asked AI to do anything with it. What I see in practice every single time is that the companies who skip this step end up circling back to it anyway. They just do it 12 months later, after they've already spent the budget and burned through the patience of their leadership team. The smart move is doing it first. It's less exciting than deploying a shiny new platform, but it's the difference between AI that works and AI that's just an expensive screensaver. So let's tie this together. Story 1, HR shows you the people side. AI is transforming how companies recruit, but it's also transforming how candidates game the system. The companies that win aren't just buying AI tools for screening. They're upskilling their HR teams to actually wield them, because the imbalance, AI-powered applicants versus manually powered recruiters, is a losing equation. Story 2, data readiness shows you the infrastructure side. Only 7% of companies have their data house in order. And until that number moves meaningfully, the failure rates on AI projects will stay exactly where they are. The bridge between buying AI and getting ROI from AI has 2 spans: your people and your data. Companies that invest in both are generating real measurable returns. Everyone else is buying expensive software and calling it a strategy. A lot of YPO members are at exactly this inflection point right now. The technology decision has been made. The next decision, the one that actually determines whether any of it works, is whether you're willing to do the transformation work on the human side and the data side. That's where the value lives. That's where the ROI comes from. That's the YPO Tech Network AI Brief for Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I'm Stephen Forte. If this hit home, send it to a fellow member who needs to hear it. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, stay sharp.